Hello, you beautiful Life Path 6 person. Welcome to your year ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Radiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. I just want to say a massive heartfelt thank you so much for all of your love and support out throughout all of 2022. For those of you that watched these Numerology Life Path year ahead readings month by month, you came back to comment, to share, to let me know how it was going and what was accurate and how it was showing up for you in your life. It really does mean the absolute world to me that you did that, and I'm so truly grateful, and I really hope that these serve you just as well in the universal year number 7, which is 2023. With that said, I would like to bless the cards and this reading with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise. They help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So if you've been with me long enough, you know there are always notes somewhere. There's always my trusty notes, and this year it wouldn't be the same if there weren't any of my trusty notes, right? So this year, what do you need to know about 2023 and the way that it's going to interact with your life path number? So this year for you is going to require hard work. This is a year for you to dig in, to get disciplined, to get focused, to really knuckle down and do the hard work. This year is about really building foundation for you. Now, the thing is, as a Life Path 6, you are no stranger to hard work. You're naturally very hardworking. You are what we call here in the UK a grafter, right? This is somebody that really knows how to work hard and isn't shy to roll up their sleeves and get stuck in. This year is going to require more of that from you. Only the thing is, this year will be quite different. And the reason I say this is, one, you may not see immediate results from your hard work, but don't get discouraged, right? This is like, you know, when you're building a house, you have to dig out the trench, you have to lay all the foundations, and you've got to get all of that right before you can even start building above ground. That's what this year represents for you, right? Unless you're in a specific certain sort of personal year vibration, it'll work slightly differently. But these trends and themes are likely to be at the foundation of what you're experiencing over the course of this year. So are you ready to dig deep into who you are and also meet your challenges head on? Because that's what you're going to be required to do this year. Take the long way, right? Don't cut corners. This is not a year for you to kind of say like, yeah, you know, I can get round to that at some point, or, you know, maybe I can just like cut a little corner here. Don't do it, all right? This year, do it the long way, do it the hard way, get it done right the first time round so that you don't have to deal with it again. What I've also put here for you as well is how far you go this year will really be determined on the kind of foundations that you build right now. So especially for those of you that are in like a personal year number 4, a personal year number 2, possibly even a personal year number 8, right? If you're in one of those that I've mentioned, this year you really have to knuckle down like never before. Building well this year and learning well. So if you are going to really learn well over the course of this year, if you're gonna, like, if you really want to succeed, your knowledge and your acquisition of knowledge has to be paramount. It has to be a really important part of everything that you're doing for this year ahead. Also, this year, pay attention to your physical body. Do things that bring you into alignment with that body. If you know there are certain things that you're not supposed to eat or drink, do the work this year, right? Start cutting those things out. Yes, you know, have a treat once in a while, but if you know, like, you know what, I've been told by a doctor, by a professional, this is not good for me, start phasing it out. Don't just go cold turkey, right? Remember, you're playing the long game this year. You're building good habits. Take your time. It's like, especially with your physical body as well, whether you're a man or a woman, obviously check in with your healthcare professional, right? We've got to use our brains as well. But this year, if you go to any personal trainer, etc., they'll all tell you, man, woman, young, old, lift weights, right? And there's so many reasons for that, but one of them is, I don't know if you know this, but when you lift weights, when you do weightlifting and such, it forces your body to dig into reserves of energy that you don't usually use, which is one of the reasons really long cardio does that same thing. It forces your body to tap into resources that, quite frankly, in the modern age, we don't tap into enough. And specifically when it comes to this energy for you, building your actual body, strengthening your body, strengthening your bones, strengthening or putting on muscle rather than just putting on fat, or, you know, becoming toned and lean and all of that stuff, that's not going to cut it. This year you need to make yourself strong. And then finally, be honest with yourself about what is working and what isn't. Take the pragmatic approach to everything, which is kind of stuff that you do naturally anyway. I've met a lot of Life Path 6 people. They're really warm, they're really friendly, but they do err towards the more pragmatic / cynical side of things. And it's kind of one of the things that I love about you guys as well, actually, because, you know, yeah, anyway. So when it comes to the different sectors of your life this year, when it comes to your money, take the practical and frugal approach this year. This is not a year to, that's not to say like don't speculate or don't kind of, you know, like don't play the field. Like if you know something's a good investment and you've run the numbers and you've got the, you know, good sort of heads up from the right advisors and stuff, then absolutely go for it. If you feel something intuitively and you think, you know what, everyone's saying this is not the way to go, but it feels right to me, then trust yourself, absolutely. But when it comes to your finances, this is a really good year to scrub them up, to get them, you know, into the best shape that they've been. It's unless you're in a personal year 8, money probably won't come fast, but it will definitely come over time with the right push, the right decisions, and the right investments. Yeah, buy things that are built to last this year, especially if it's like a home. And if you're buying a home this year, have the foundations checked. So here in the UK, I don't know how it is elsewhere in the world, but here in the UK, in order to buy a home that's been underpinned, where the ground has had subsidence and stuff, it's actually quite hard to get them insured, which is one of the reasons people are kind of wary about buying them. So check the foundations and the structure of the home. If you're buying a home this year, you want to check the terra firma of that space. All right, really, really important. As I mentioned in one of the other Life Path videos, I am not adverse, like I haven't bought a home, but obviously I rent homes. I am not adverse to bringing my cards to that home, you know. Don't think I won't have them in my pocket and then just randomly pull one out and drop it on the side and be like, what's going on here then? Or, you know, do my own readings or my own research around stuff. You have to. All right, so when it comes to love and relationships, this is time to do some good hard work on how you love your partner. Right, so get into maintaining the relationship, get into really looking after it and asking yourself, what does it need more of? What does it need less of? What do we need to add? What do we need to take away? This is about really being honest. In fact, if you've ever seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, brilliant film, by the way. There's a bit where he says, you know, we don't really need to be here. We're just checking things out to see like the health and the state of our marriage. This is a good year to do that kind of thing, even if you're not married, right? Long-term partner, etc. If you are single, you're being asked to get serious about what you want from love. Be honest about it. Be upfront. Say what you need. Say what you want, and get what you need out of the relationship in order to put back into it in a way that feels satisfying for you, but more importantly, does it for your partner as well. So in terms of your warnings, don't cut corners. I've already said that. This is a year of snakes and ladders. If you try to cut corners, if you try to cheat the game or rig the system, you're going to land on a snake. And what happens? As we know, all right? Work. This is a great year for you to dig into work. And like, think of this year as a long-term investment. The hard work that you do now when it comes to your work, your profession, your career, your business is really going to grow what you can earn, achieve, or sustain in the latter years, like in the years that follow. It's also as well the blessings that show up now, or rather the blessings that show up because of the work that you put in this year will be massive, and more importantly, they will last. Finally, this year can really set you free in a lot of ways, providing you do the hard work first. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of here for it, right? So you're going to get one destiny card, one direction card per month. And this first card that I pull is always really important because the first card kind of typifies the year that you're going to have. It's kind of like this will be how things start, and it's going to permeate through here, you know, throughout the year, basically. Now, that being said, we are starting the year. We are starting the year with a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, so be aware of that. We're also starting the year with Mars retrograde in the sign of Gemini. Now, this is a big deal because as we start the year, you might be wanting that sort of fast, big, dynamic push forward, and you may not get it. You might notice that things, people, the world are kind of a little bit slower, and so maybe you're not getting the traction that you want straight out of the gate, but there is definitely good, like, stick with it is what I'm saying to you, right? If there's a slow, steady start to this year, don't fret. Now, your first card out for the year ahead is the Strength card. So there's a lot of things about this card, and basically, right, so with everything that I said to you in your numerology overview, the big message was what, right? That you need to play the long game, you need to dig in, find that grit, that determination to see things through. The Strength card very much talks about that. It's about really asking yourself, what do you want at the heart of hearts of who you are? What is truly fulfilling to you at this moment in time, and what isn't? Asking yourself these questions here in January is really going to determine how this whole year goes for you from here on in. I'm actually here for this as well because it suggests that in January, you're starting the year maybe not fast or dynamic, but you're definitely starting the year strong. It's like you've got a solid plan. So whatever you're doing in November and December of 2022, it looks like you really are setting yourself up for the best, right? So you come into the new year, you come into January, and it's like, right, okay, I know what I've got to do. I know where I want to be. I know what's important to me, and I'm going to focus in on those things. And the thing that I love most about the Strength card is, if you think about it like this, it's almost like when you see the Rider-Waite-Smith version of this card, there's the woman closing the mouth of the lion. And that has always said to me that she's taming the wildest of creatures in the entire world, in the entire universe, probably, the human heart, right? So what you want is absolutely available to you if you have the strength and the determination and the grit to go for it. But more importantly, if you have the heart and the courage and the strength to go after it, all right? This is really about owning what you want from this year, and you are starting this year strong. All right, so for your clarifying energy, you have, I always shuffle my cards before I get on camera, but I like to do it on camera so that people know that I haven't stacked the deck. What you get is what you get. All right, so you've got this with the Three of Cups. For a lot of you, you are returning to something. This isn't, and it's like whatever you're doing in January, yes, you're starting the year strong. Yes, you've got a solid plan. Yes, you've got a solid goal and direction. But that Three of Cups suggests that you are reuniting or realigning to something that you have already done previously. Maybe you're going back to an old routine. Maybe you're going back to the gym. Maybe you're going back to an old place that you used to work. Maybe you are reuniting with a friend. Maybe you're, biting that, the bullet to say, look, you know what? I know we had a falling out. Maybe for some of you, you're mending a relationship. There's something here where you are reuniting with something that your heart is genuinely wanting or excited about. So there's a big reunion for you right out of the gate before you've even gone anywhere. It's like you're treading down memory lane, but this is really igniting the power of your heart. For February, you have the Devil card. Okay, so you've got to be really careful here in February because you may have and especially if you are reuniting with old friends, old partners, old lovers, old workplaces, old places of study. It's like, and the reason I say this is the Devil card could literally be you thinking, well, this is just going to be all the same. I know what I'm doing here. I know this person. I know this place of work. You might go in thinking you know exactly what it is. Think about the time that has passed between the reunion and this moment in time. The same old same is not going to cut it. All right, so this is something to be really, really mindful of. On top of that, you've got the Three of Swords. So like February might be a time where you're trying to hold on to something that actually needs to be let go of. This could be that you're assimilating the lesson of whatever it is that you're going back to. It could be that you are getting rid of, and I love this, right? The Three of Swords with the Devil card, that's getting rid of a bad habit. This is you letting something go. In February, you're letting something go. You might feel this in the heart space. You might think, wow, you know what? I can't believe that this, oh gosh, it could be anything, right? As an example, I really love these shoes, right? But I've got to let them go because they're not very good for my ankles or they're affecting my posture. I need to stop hanging out with these people because they like to drink every night, and actually I feel like I'm making less progress at work or with my studies. There's something that you're letting go of in February that is a bad habit that's kind of rubbed off on you. Now, what do we see here? You've got the Three of Cups, you've got the Three of Swords. 2 threes literally represents a calming influence. So whatever you're letting go of, yes, you feel it. Yes, you're going to feel like, oh, wow, you know, this is coming to an end. But it's like, you know that it's the right thing. Whatever this end of an era is, it's the right move. It's the right step for you. And you will feel that along with you know, this kind of hurts to be letting go of this. You will also be feeling this is the right step for me. Now, as we come into March, March is a packed month. There is so much going on in March, right? We have Pluto moving out of the sign of Capricorn and into the sign of Aquarius. We will also have Saturn moving out of Aquarius into the sign of Pisces. We also have Mars moving out of the sign of Gemini, where it doesn't really do very well. Gemini is about this, you know, this here, options, flitting in different directions. Mars likes general directness and focus, and it can't really do that. So it's a frustrated Mars in Gemini. Now, the reason that this is interesting is because Mars is going into the sign of its fall, which is Cancer. Now, although Mars hasn't been in the best space because it's gone retrograde, which it hates to do, it's been in a sign that it doesn't really do very well with. In Cancer, it can say to, you know, Mars can say, actually, now I've got something that I can protect, that I can focus on, that I can defend. I can do that in that forward momentum, and he's going to be picking up speed as we go forward and won't go retrograde for another 2 years at this point. So Mars coming into Cancer, I think, is going to be a welcome relief for all of us in some way, shape or form. Now, if you want to find out how all of these astrological transits are going to speak specifically to your sun, your moon, or your ascendant sign, you can get those on the link in the description box below. They're $4.99 a piece. There's like a 90-minute video plus the eclipse overview video plus a PDF that is printable of 19 plus pages of all the big astrological transits of 2023, how they're going to affect you. Or you can get the bundle for $24.99, which is like nothing. You'll see one of those things floating above my head very shortly if you haven't seen it already, and you can get those on the link in the description box below. They are out there for your purchasing pleasure. For those of you that already have, big love. All right, so for March, you have the Chariot card, right? Massive deal. This is where right, Mars is going to be a big deal. March is going to be a big deal anyway. There's going to be a lot of energy here, a lot of dynamic energy, a lot of movement forward. This is really where 2023 actually kicks off. January and February for a lot of people, for a lot of life paths, for a lot of signs even, it's going to kind of be like, yeah, you know, like plodding along. You start the year strong, right? You do. You've got your plan, you're holding to it, you're getting rid of what or who is in the way of really you succeeding at that. But when we hit March, that's when you put pedal to the metal. This is where things are going to speed up for you. It's very likely to be a month where travel is coming into focus. It might also be where you start to really understand what steps you're taking that are actually getting you closer to your goals. So this is actually a really good month to do like a mini personal review. For this, you've got the World card. So you're definitely traveling in March. And this is going to be long distance travel, right? Now, if you're in the States, everywhere is basically long distance travel. But all jokes aside, this is like, that's travel, like long distance travel. And the weird thing is, For some of you, I'm getting like Peru, like places like Peru, South America, places that are equatorial, like places like that. For some of you, you'll be going to the Middle East, Dubai, you know, places like Morocco, Saudi Arabia, like all of that kind of sort of space and area. For all of you though, in some way, shape or form, that is a massive success. For those of you that are taking a driving test in March, you'll pass with flying colours. For those of you that are taking any form of academic test or license prep or whatever, you pass with flying colours. Like absolutely, you will smash it. Beautiful, really, what an amazing month. And then for April, another relatively big month, but your big months, March, May and October. Those are the big ones that you need to be aware of. April, we're going to have the first new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Aries. This is a big deal, right? Whatever happens around that eclipse is going to give you a heads up of what's happening for not only the rest of this year, but into and including 2024. So pay attention to what shows up around this eclipse because it's going to be a big deal, you know, certainly for the long term, right? Now, that being said, if you want to find out how that's going to affect your sign, you know what to do. Now, for April, you have the Lovers card. Love, relationships, partnerships, very much on your mind, very big focus. For some of you at this point, if you're partnered, married or in long-term commitments, whatever travel you're doing in March, it may see you apart from the partner in April, all right? So maybe you're going right at the end of March and that travel spills over into the month after. But relationships are very much to the fore. You've got this with the 5 of Wands. Now, for those of you that are single, whoever it is that you have your eye on, or whoever it is that has their eye on you, there's competition here, all right? There is somebody else in the picture. Now, the challenge with this is, if you see somebody and you think, wow, you know, I'm really into this person, I want to date them, whatever, you might pursue them and then you realize really quickly, okay, there's a lot of people that seem to want to date this person. It might be that you are the object of someone else's desire and there's someone in their way. I will say, for those of you that are partnered, married or in long-term commitments, you could be working on a project together of some sort. This could be something that has something to do with like construction or anything like that. Another way that this could show up for you though, that you do need to be mindful of, don't allow friends or friendships to interfere in your relationship, all right? It's really important for April because it could end up being a deal breaker. Now, as we come into May, another big month, right? We've got Jupiter moving into the sign of Taurus. Jupiter will stay in the sign of Taurus even when it retrogrades. It's going to go into Taurus right the way from this point of 2023 right the way through to 2024. There's none of this cross-border jumping anymore. Now, on top of that, Mercury will be retrograde in the sign of Taurus. It's kind of like, it's weird. It's almost like Mercury's like, you know, like the little cupbearer, and he's like, la la la, Jupiter is coming, the king, you know, the planet of kings is arriving. He's like tidying up the place before big Jupe comes in. And then for, on top of that, as if that wasn't enough, we've got the last full moon solar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio. So it's kind of like this cycle is going out with a bang, I reckon. Really interesting. All right, again, you want to know how that affects your sign, you know what to do. You have the Empress, the Lady Venus, in her month, around her time and in her sign. And the beauty of this is the Empress, or Venus, rules your number, right? So May is going to be a good time for you. I actually really like this. I will say this could be a time, March through May, could be a time that you're spending time in places that are either very different to where you grew up or where you live normally. You could be spending time in sort of like really tropical, lush climates, or, you know, really hot, beautiful, sandy kinds of places as well. The other thing with this, for a lot of you, you might be really focused on your image at this time. And you've got this with the Queen of Cups. So for those of you that are trying for children, this is a brilliant month. And because of that eclipse, you know, depending on where it falls in your chart, this could literally be a surprise pregnancy. Women will feature. Women's rights on the wider world stage. Women's rights are going to be big. There's something potentially happening with the housing market here in March and April of 2023 as well. And I don't think it's necessarily going to be the crash, but I do feel like it's the either the skilled trades or the labor and stuff. Like around that time, we're going to be hearing stuff about it and how it's understaffed or whatever. I mean, everything is understaffed at this minute because for the first time in history, it's an employees market. We get to decide how much we get paid, what we want to do for work, what the right hours are, what is too much for an employer to demand. We've never been in that position before, and I personally think it fucking rocks. Now, back to May. Women's rights, defense of women's rights, the repeal of Roe v. Wade, I wonder. All possibilities. Now, on a more personal level, whenever a court card shows up with the Empress, this person is genuinely beautiful. This is someone that's very easy on the eyes, that has grace and sensuality dripping out of their pores, like, as if they're, an heiress or like an heir to a fortune that was born naturally beautiful and, stick thin. And do you know what I mean? Like somebody that just has that air about them, and it doesn't matter what they look like. Right? They just have that thing that makes you think like, damn. The Queen of Cups, water sign person, usually Pisces, Cancer or Scorpio. Somebody very beautiful is going to be in your world at this time. And I really feel like this person takes a shine to you, or they're showing you the best of what you can have with the talents, the skills or the abilities that you've got. This could also be a time where some like tidbit of information is shared with you that really enhances your material experience. So pay attention to that. For June, you have the Justice card. So big commitments, contracts are showing up for you here. For some of you, this is legal matters and or practices that are coming up for review. You've got this here with the Wheel of Fortune. This is a massive pairing, right? And the reason being, the Justice card is human law. The Wheel of Fortune is universal law, right? There's a big, like, they both represent law and legality in some ways, but really different polar ends of what law and legality is. This is something that settles in your favor. This is you signing on the dotted line. Potentially this opportunity or this contract comes through this Queen of Cups. So likely to be a family member or a friend, somebody that just really takes a shine to you, offers you an amazing opportunity. You're signing on the dotted line, and this is where your life really starts to change. And I don't say that lightly, right? If you've been with me long enough, I tend to err, much like yourselves, on the more pragmatic side of things, but this is big. Whatever document or paperwork you're signing here, whatever contract you are signing, this is going to be around for a very long time to come, and it will feel like it's divinely ordained in some way. If you are in any legalities, court cases, etc. at this point, they settle in your favor. For July, you have the Star card. I mean, it just keeps getting better, right? So as for July, this is likely to be a month where you're really paying attention to your groups, your group settings, the people that you are connected to. Now, because you've got this right next to the Wheel of Fortune and the Justice card, this could be where you are either setting up some new group, especially online. You could be looking at a website or some kind of online business model, very possible. You've got this with the Knight of Wands. So a lot of you are traveling again here in July. Now, the thing that sort of really strikes me is July will be more travel, like whatever travel you're doing March to May, that seems like travel that you kind of don't have a choice to do. Whereas this seems more leisurely, but it's like you're connecting with people maybe that you've only ever spoken to online, right? So maybe you are... Like maybe you've got friends, I've got online friends that I speak to practically every week. Do you know what I mean? I've never met them in person, but they're wonderful people. I couldn't imagine my life without them. To suddenly finally meet them in person and be able to hug the bones of them will be amazing. And I feel like this is what's happening for a lot of you. This is also whatever you're setting into motion here in June, you're starting to really see how this can be for your future, what it's going to really create or provide for you moving forward. So this is a big deal. As we come into August, you have the Emperor. The Emperor's been very active for August. And I'm intrigued by this because I feel like August is probably going to be a month where on the wider world stage, we're seeing big things happen around men, around the masculine energies, around military forces, potentially as well, some big sort of power structure, oligarchical sort of, etc. It's not the Hierophant, so it will be like smaller institutions, but still big stuff nonetheless. Now, for those of you that are partnered or married, your husband or your more masculine sort of partner could be presenting to you at this time as a focus. This might also be a time where you're looking at your marriage, your partnership, and it doesn't have to be in an intimate case, right? This could be with your boss. This could be with the company that you work with, the clientele that you have. There's something here where you are having to hold a line. So you might have to sort of set a record straight. You might have to sort of command a space, or, say, well, this is how it is going to go, rather than, being told how it's going to go. With this, you've got the Moon card, right? So there's potentially something happening around a relationship here. This could also be a blast from the past of an old boss, an old partner, maybe an ex-husband. It wouldn't surprise me actually if you were having some really intense conversations around your past, or around something or someone from your past within the context or the confines of a relationship. So if you are in a relationship, this could be one of your exes shows up and your current partner is like, what the this could be the other way round, right? Maybe you're in a relationship and like your other half's ex turns up and starts talking crap and all the rest of it. For those of you that are single, this is potentially someone that is coming back into the fold, and you're going to be quite confused about this. All right, like you won't know, like, are you coming back into my life because we're supposed to get back together? Are you here because you want to be? Like, what's going on here? Another thing as well, when it comes to work and the profession, this could be a month where things are a little bit dicey, so just be mindful. September, we have a Virgo Mercury retrograde, and for this you have the Tree of Life. I love this card. Whatever or whoever is showing up and causing problems or issues in August, September will see them removed, divinely removed, all right, which I think is great. You've got this with the Queen of Swords. So whatever challenges and or disputes or arguments you have, especially around work, the profession, and I say this because August, like I said, it's either about your relationship or it's about your work. It's one of the two, or maybe it's both. Whatever's happening there in September, it will be settled. You will have to fight for this, all right? You've got a battle on your hands in September. Make no mistakes about that. Whatever comes up in August, it will settle in your favor. And the reason I know that is because you've got this card, which represents divine intervention and assistance. So I'm totally here for it, okay? As we come into October, another big month, right? You've got two eclipses, one in the sign of Libra, one in the sign of Taurus. And that Taurus eclipse, again, that's the one that closes out the cycle. At that point, we're done with the Scorpio-Taurus axis, and we are fully into the Aries-Libra axis. You want to find out how that hits you in your signs, you know what to do. For October, you have the Fool card. New things, new places, new people, new energies, fresh starts, and a leap of faith. This is you make it. I mean, look, right? You've got the Divine Intervention and Assistance card right next to the Fool card, which basically says there's a fresh start or a new beginning here. How exciting. And you've got this with the Knight of Swords. So if July is travel pleasure and March through May is potentially sort of professional or academic travel, the travel that's taking place in October is very spontaneous, all right? It's almost like you just don't see it coming. You didn't expect this to be happening. It's almost like you'll have to go really quickly. There's also a chance here where an opportunity or a contract of some kind shows up. For a lot of you, this could be a time where you're interviewing for something, whether it's for new work, maybe you're doing the interviews to take on your first employee. There's something here where whatever you're doing, it really does feel like a big leap of faith. and you're kind of like, okay, this is happening really quickly and I'm just along for the ride. There's very much a feeling with this where it's like, okay, I'm in the middle of a tornado. Yay! You know, but a good one. For November, you have if you've ever seen a tornado, yes, all right, fine, it's destroying stuff. When it's not destroying stuff, they're actually quite beautiful to look at. And the center of them, I don't know if you've ever seen pictures and stuff, it's absolutely stunning. All right, so Temperance for November. All right, this I would say is probably a month where, and it's interesting because your mid-section of this year, May through August, is where the challenges are happening for a lot of the world. May through August is really nice for you. September onwards looks to be the time where it's like a little bit more dicey. As you come to November though, things will start to regulate. This is where things will start to ease off. They'll be a little bit easier. That Temperance card really does suggest that you're coming, you know, things are coming good. And you've got the Fool card again. New things, new places, new people. For some of you, you could be embarking on some form of new study. For some of you, you could be getting a new qualification. For some of you, this could be that you are, maybe you're aligning with a completely brand new path that you hadn't even set out on. Maybe this had nothing to do with your plans. And by the time you get to sort of September through November, you're like, wow, okay, so this is, you know, maybe a 180 or a 720 in a completely different direction to where I was going, but it feels right, it feels aligned. I actually really like November. I like November for a spontaneous healing as well. So if you've had any like health problems, challenges or issues, November could be a time where they're resolved. You finish the year with the moon. Very reflective at this point, really looking over the past in some way. And you've got this with the Ace of Cups. For some of you, so, I mean, look, both of these, May could be surprise pregnancy. October and November could also be surprise pregnancy. December could see you like, you know, maybe your partner is pregnant and you're like, I don't really know how I feel about it. Yes, I will love the child and I'll support them and I'll look after them, but I don't know how I feel about it. And that's okay, right? And it's really, really important that people own this. I've spoken to so many people who, you know, they were like, yeah, I really wanted kids. And then the second I found out I was pregnant, or the second I found out, you know, my wife or my partner was pregnant, I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know how I really felt about it. And so you might be reflecting, it's like something great has come into your life at this point. You've had to fight for it. Make no mistake. Maybe this is a promotion. Maybe it's a new job. Maybe it is, you know, a new client. It's like whatever it is, you've had to fight for it. And now you've got it. Yes, it feels wonderful. But at the same time, you're kind of like, I don't really know how I feel about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it happens, right? Sometimes we spend so long waiting for something, fighting for it, grafting for it. And then all of a sudden we're like, okay, now that I've got it, I don't really know what to do at this point. So your key to the year is the gate 55 and abundance. Look at that, right? And I think this year can bring you plenty of abundance, an abundance of travel, an abundance of opportunities. That is probably the biggest thing that comes out of this year for you guys, which is amazing. And in order to make abundance, we need opportunities. Lean into them when they show up for you this year, all right? It really is about how you do that. Now, that being said, let's look at your challenge months, right? So February is going to be a challenge month. You're letting something go and you're feeling it keenly. August is going to be a challenge month for sure. September is going to be a challenge month, probably for sure. October and November could kind of go either way. It's like great things are coming, but they cause a bit of upheaval. You know, December, potentially a challenge month. Excuse me. Your power months, January, March, April even, May, June, July, all power months, absolutely. And I'm going to say to you as well, September is a power month. September is a power month because it's going to force you out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to fight for something like you've never fought for anything in your life before. But I promise you, it will bring you amazing results. With that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. I truly, truly hope that this serves you well over the year. Watch it back month by month, every 3 months, every 6 months. You know, there's so many ways that people do this, you know, and I love reading your comments when you come back and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, you said this would happen in the world and it did. Or, you know, you said this was going to happen, you know, for me in this month, and actually it happened the month after, but it was exactly how you said. I love all of those comments because it really shows me where I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and it also tells me where I maybe need to brush up my skills a little bit, and I am not afraid to admit that I need to consistently do that. All right, with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic 2023. Take care, and I'll see you soon.